start our lesson today. And so just to let you know, this is our last lesson in a series of lessons on number patterns. And so today we're going to do a bit of revision, and then we're also going to start the sort of new little bit of stuff that we're going to bring in today is start using pictures. So we're going to take pictures and then look at if pictures have patterns in them that we can use some of the ideas that we've learned in this series of lessons. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the newish stuff. But Yolanda, so especially for those who are new, Yolanda is the TA who's helping me here. And so I just want to ask her, is there anything, Yolanda, that you know about or anything else that you want to say to the students before we get going?
I only just want to say welcome, guys, and I'm so happy and excited that the number patterns that we're learning today, it's about pictures, something different, but still the same of what you have learned last session, last week. So please just remember to always mute your mic and unmute whenever we tell you to unmute, so you can talk to us, okay? And also remember to always put your answer on the chat. Would really appreciate that. But other than that, guys, I'm rooting for you. So I'm here with you and I'm learning. Let's go. Let's do this.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yolanda, you make some very good points. So we do want you to be on mute, especially at the beginning when we're just giving you information. But there will be times today where I stop and I ask for input for students. And when I do that, I'm going to hit a little button which says mute all, and then I'm going to unmute some of you. And basically, if you put your hand up, I will unmute you and you can give me some feedback. Okay, so I want you to be aware of that, because there will be times in the lesson where I hit like mute on all, and then I'll say who would like to help, or who would like to give an answer, and then I will unmute you. And so that's something a little bit new that we're doing. And then the other thing is, I really do love it when you put your answers in the chat. There's a lot of research that says if students commit to the act of typing or doing something when they're learning, even if they're wrong, they remember things better when they finally see the right answer. And so I really want you to work hard at putting your answers in the chat as we go. I also want to ask you to make sure you're in a space where you're sitting and you have a pen and pencil with you, and that you are relatively comfortable and undisturbed. Don't be lying down, because often then we're a bit more passive in the way we interact with the lesson. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you are sitting at a table, you have a pen and pencil, and you feel ready to start learning. I want everyone who is ready to give me a thumbs up, and I want to look at the chat quickly. Okay, and then that is fantastic, guys. Because I promise you today, we are going to put all the pieces together and we are going to make number patterns. We're going to own number patterns by the end of today, I promise. Tukela, I think you're secretly ready. Okay, so let's start with this. Now, I know we've been doing these for a while, but I really want to give you a chance to just smash this one out the window, okay? So I've given you, this is I would say it's even a decent level exam question from a past paper. And I want you to see, can you do the 3 steps? And I want you to do this independently. So I'm going to give you some hints, but basically you can start now. For those who feel comfortable, start working these out. Stage 1 is to find a formula for the number pattern above. Stage 2 is to find something called T18. And then the last one is well, I'll let you get to that when you get to it. But basically find the position of the term which equals 114. And I'm going to give you 3 minutes or so to do this. So I'm going to keep quiet for the most part, other than make encouraging comments. And once you have started to get the answers, you can put the answers in the chat. But over to you guys. Let's do this. Let's do it. And Yolanda, you do it too.
I'm ready with my pen also and my book.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm ready to give it a try, guys. Let's do this. I can already see some comments with the answers of TN already.
Fantastic. So
That's
Bia,
really well.
if we look at the formula for whenever we start these questions, we try to look for something called the step size. So see if you can find the step size, and then or the constant difference. But then that's not all we need. We need to do something more than that. We need to think about what I call the balancing term to help us build our formula. So I see a lot of you have a 4, and you spot on, you're on the right track. But what else do you need to do in addition to your 4? Bia, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? I see your hand is raised.
No, I didn't want to ask a question. I wanted to answer.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, you want to answer? Let's just give it a moment. Okay, well, tell me the first part. So just start me off while we wait for students. So what's the first thing you need to do?
So the first thing you need to do is look at the number terms, and then you put 2 over 6, you put 6 over 2, and then you subtract it, and that will give you the answer of 4. But then you can never be sure that it's the same thing for the rest one. So then you put 10 over 6, and then you subtract it, and that will still give you 4. Then you move on to 14 over 10, and you minus it again, and it will still give you 4. That's how you know that your constant difference is 4.
Yeah, so you've got your step size of your constant difference, and you've noticed basically that in order to get it, you just subtracted 6 minus 2, you got 4, 10 minus 6, you got 4. Perfect. Now, I'd love someone to tell me, what do I need to do in order to start building the formula? So if I could ask Kageliso Solomon to unmute and just give me some guidance, how would you do the next bit?
Hi, so how we do the next bit is we say our term number, which is 4 because that's our constant difference. And then in order to get to the first term, which is 2, you have to minus 2 from the term number.
Before we go there, what have I left out? Before I get to my minus 2, what am I missing on the screen at the moment?
You're missing the n.
Perfect. Okay, and then talk me through how you knew to take away 2. What did you look at?
I looked at the constant difference number, which is 4, and I saw the first number of the sequence, which is 2, and I needed to get to 2 in order for me to continue the sequence. You're
pretty much right, except you always actually look at what would you get as your first term at the moment.
Yes,
so at the moment, you would get, if you put T1 in, you would get 4, and then you compare it to what is up here, which is 2, and then you know that's 2, it's 2 too many, and so you just take away 2.
2, yes.
But that was great. Thank you so much for your answer. It was lovely. Okay.
Well done to all of you guys.
Yeah. Who would like to do B? If you raise your hand, and then I will take some input for B. Who wants to give B a go? So Rebetswe, come online and tell us what you would do to find B.
Afternoon, Sen, ma'am.
Hello.
So how I did to get T18 was that I multiplied 4 by 18, then subtracted 2.
So you used the formula that you have already.
Yes.
You just basically subbed in the 18. Fantastic. And what did you get in the end?
70.
70. So let's have a look.
Yes.
So 8 times 4, I think I would get, let's have a look. 8 times 4 is 32 minus, so this would be 72 minus 2. I agree, we get 70. And so the 18th term in the list is 70. Guys, you really made good progress here. Okay, now the last one is C. And C, I want to, before I ask for some input, I want to just set up what I mean by 114. So in this long list of terms in our pattern, at some point, it gets to the number 114. And it's very easy for us to see at the beginning that, like, this is the first term, this is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth. But this one over here, we don't know. And so we're trying to figure out what is it without having to count in 4s all the way up. And so who would like to tell me? I'd love someone to help me here. If someone's willing to be brave enough. I know it's tough, and even if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. I'm really just appreciative of your input. Can you help me start off with this? Who's feeling brave enough to just the first line of of the question.
There's already some answers on the comments. You all are doing great today. I'm so excited, actually,
So
and happy.
who is willing to, Amakle, will you start me off with this? How would I start doing this?
I think you say 4 times 114.
Okay. But remember,
And
so you're saying 4 times 114 like that, yeah?
and then subtract 2, and it should
Be the answer.
give you.
You're almost there. So you're right to use 114. The 114, you're perfectly right. I just think where you've put the 114 may be a little bit off, but that's not a problem. So let's just see who else. Tando, Makle, if you could just mute yourself for a second, and Tando, unmute yourself. Could you let me know, how would you start this off?
Sir, hello, hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. I would say, I would put 114 equals n 4 n minus 2.
Perfect. Okay, I want to stop for a second there. Thank you so much, Tando. If you could just mute yourself for a second, but I want to talk about this. What's very important is that when you're finding the position number or the n value over here, notice that if you want to find the n or the position number, you can't sub into the n with the other thing. The key thing in this question is that you needed to sub the 114 into where the tn was. And that's what we did there. Okay, now I'd love to get another bit. What's the next step after that? If someone could, talk me through it. Who else? I want to choose someone new if I can. Who else who hasn't spoken today would like to maybe volunteer? Okay, let's go for Rebetswe. Okay, Rebetswe, you have talked, but let's go again. How would we approach this?
So we would add 2 to 114 and do 4n minus 2.
So you're saying add 2 on this side and add 2 on this side, and you get 116 equals 4n. Fantastic. And can you give us the next step?
4.
So what do you do?
4n over 4. You divide by 4.
The 4. And then what you're going to get, do you have the answer?
29.
You're going to get 29. And so we know that term 29 is 114. Guys, when we started this section, that question was very hard for you guys, very, very hard. And it's still hard, but we're making progress. And I just want to salute you on that, because honestly, there are there are people in grade 10 and grade 11 who are still struggling to get this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's wonderful that you're managing to go to that place on your learning journey now. So I just want to say well done. Okay.
Well done, guys. Well done, Rebecca. That was a nice answer. Well done. So proud.
Okay, we're going to move on. And I'm going to do a multiple choice question now. And I'm going to use the Zoom poll to help me. We're going to try something a little bit different. So there's a question on the screen, and I want you to just take a moment to read it. I don't want you to answer in the chat. And I want you to think about, I want you to just look at the question. And I've changed the question a little bit now, okay, because of, I'm just changing it up. So once you had a chance to think about it, I want you to answer the Zoom poll with your answer for this question. And then once we've seen the results of the poll, I will, okay. Yolanda, can you see the poll on the screen that we're doing?
Yes, I see. I see. So at this moment, B is winning.
Yep.
B is winning at this moment.
But there's a mixture, of answers. There's all sorts under the sun, which it's great. We're going to do this, then I'm going to explain something, and then we are going to vote again, because I'm not going to tell you which one is right. I'm just going to explain something to you first. Okay. And even if you're not sure, lock in your vote now. And B may not be right, guys. So be careful. So let's have a look. Okay. Commit to your vote. Then I'm going to do an explanation. And then I want you to vote again after that. We'll rerun the poll, but everyone needs to have voted.
Yes, please, guys, let's participate. Let's see. I'm proud of all of you who have chosen something. At least we have something, and then now we're going to correct it because Teacher Peter is going to teach us on how to do it.
Okay. So if we look at this first thing, has everybody voted? Let's have a look. Make sure you voted. I'm just going to count these dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6. Then the next one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then the next one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then the next one is, okay, well, 4 times 3, which is, 4 times 4 is 16 plus 2 is 18. So what I've done is, and I'll actually rub this out in a moment, I've translated my picture into a number pattern. Now, the question says, how many dots would there be in pattern 6? Now, at the moment, I've only seen 4. And so I want to give you guys a chance to vote again. So I've got all the answers. So I'm going to end the poll. And now, after seeing what I've just said, I want you to vote again. So let me see if I can do it again. Generic. Let me.
Should I end it on my side, Peter?
No, I'm going to relaunch the poll. There we go. And I'd like everyone to vote again with what you think the answer is. I think, Yolanda, a lot of students went for B because they thought that you were giving them a bit of a hint, but we're going to find out now. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. We still don't know the answer. We're going to figure it out in a moment. So it looks to me like the numbers are going up in 4s. It's almost like the constant difference is 4s. So if I had to have pattern 5, I would imagine that pattern 5 would be 22. And then the next one would be 26. So just think about that for a moment. It's saying how many dots would there be in pattern 6? If you look at how many, like the first pattern had 6 dots, then it went to 10. Do we all notice how I was going up in 4s? And so what I'm saying is to get the correct answer. Oh, wait, I haven't gone up far enough yet. I need to go. So that's pattern 4 is 18. Pattern 5 would be 22. Pattern 6 would be 26. And so the correct answer would be A. All right. So if you feel like you understand, what I did there, give a thumbs up. Even if you got the question wrong, give a thumbs up. If you feel confused by it, give a thumbs down. Okay. So fantastic. All right. So the main thing I want you to remember, guys, as you go forward is if you're given a picture, a lot of the time, translating it into numbers is a good thing to do. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to click mute all just for a little bit while we just want to quickly see, and then we're going to move on to the next question, and then I'll unmute certain people as we go. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to change the question a little bit. Well, actually, no, it's the same thing, give or take. I want you to think about if you were building so the dots have been arranged like this. If you were building a formula for this, so imagine we said this was 6, and then we said this was 10. Okay, whoever is our mute all. Can we please mute?
So iPhones.
Yeah, cool. I think I've managed to, okay. Apologies about that. Sorry, Yolanda, I think I silenced you.
Yeah, I was just getting the person who was doing that noise. So I already know you. So
okay, so guys, if we do misbehave continuously and we're gonna put you in the waiting room, I don't want to do that. It's not, but it's something that we have to do if people aren't going to cooperate. Okay, so we've got 14 and then we've got 18. Now, I want you to think about what you learned in the previous lessons. And I want you to think about which of these 4 do you think is going to be the formula that would generate this number pattern. And I'm not going to ask you to put the answer in the chat. Rather, we're going to try another poll. And I want everyone to just vote for the first time. And I want you to see how that is. We're trying something a little bit different. And we're going to see if this voting of the poll, we just want to try, it's always good to try something new. So let's relaunch the poll. And I want you to choose which of these formulas do you think matches using what we've learned before and we're combining it with something new. And let's see how things are going. Okay, I see answers are coming in thick and fast. Okay, well done, guys. I'll wait a little bit more while we get everyone's vote in. Okay, and if you can't vote in the poll, you can vote in the chat. That's also fine. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to the answer with this one, guys. When we look at this pattern, the step size is going up in 4s. So when I built my formula, I would start by doing this step. However, at the moment, that formula does not give me a first term of 6. At the moment, it's telling me that the first term is 4, and that means I'm too small. I need to add something. And how much do I need to add? I need to add 2 to get me to 6. And now I can check, does this work? For example, what would T2 be? If my formula works, my T2 should be 10. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. And so the correct answer would be A. All right. So the main point of this first part was just to show you how we can connect pictures to number patterns. Sometimes we give it as numbers, sometimes we're given it as pictures. Okay, but on the whole, you've done really well. And I think you're ready for me to do another question kind of like this, but with some more pictures. So let me move to that. All right. What I want to do here is I want to do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to, actually, no, I'll tell you what. I want you to try and answer this question first, to fill in the missing blocks and complete the table. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that. And then I will check that you've done it correctly. And then after you've done that, I'll talk about formulas and how formulas might be related to this. So over to you guys. I want you to answer in the chat, explain how the pattern is formed, and that can be in words, like how is this pattern being formed? And then once you've formed the pattern, how would you fill out the missing blocks here? And I'll make this A, B, C, D, E. So you can answer in the chat. But start by looking, what does it mean when I say figure 1, figure 2? How is this pattern formed? And can you complete the table? And I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to do that. And for those who are really on fire, see if you can build a formula while you can build the formula for this. Okay. I'm going to wait a little bit before I take any more input. I'm actually going to take input just want to give a little bit more time, but you can put your hand up and I'll come to you as soon as I realize the time is over. Just want to watch the chat for a little bit. Okay, I see some answers coming in.
Yeah, a lot of the answers comes from, I think they're answering 1B.
Okay.
So I think that's what they're answering right now.
Cool. That's awesome. All right. Tatenda, I see your hand is up. Can you tell me, how is this pattern formed? Just in words. That's all I want to know in words. Could you unmute yourself? In fact, let me unmute you, Tatenda, so that you can, I've asked you to unmute, at least I think I have. Well, I'm trying to. And then tell us, how does this pattern formed?
How
How is this pattern, when you look at this pattern, how do I form the pattern? Like, what is changing each time?
You move 2 steps.
Yeah. So you basically, you adding 2 extra number things, or 2 extra matches, right? So like for this one, we added those 2. For this one, we added those 2. And then at the very beginning, we started with 3. So we're basically adding 2 each time. And
Yes.
so that is perfect. Thank you very much. Now, if we could ask Shanice to unmute yourself. I'm trying to unmute you, Shanice. I don't know if I'm winning it live. But if you could come on and just tell me what the answers would be.
So it's Shanice, sorry.
Shanice,
And
no, good.
the answer would be, sorry, I forgot.
That's fine.
The answer was just in my head right now and I forgot. I'm really
No.
sorry.
Fine. So do you agree that it's going up in 2s? Do you agree?
Yes,
like,
sir.
So then if you think about, if I go from figure 3, which is this one, now there's going to be another one which comes next, which is figure 4. What do you think I'm going to need to do to get to figure 4's number of matches?
Figure 4, sir.
Yeah. And if you think about, there's 7 in figure 3. What do I need to do? I'm adding 2 each time. Wouldn't this one just be 9?
Yes, sir, it would.
And then the next one, what would the next one be?
If you keep on adding 2,
Yeah.
the first one will become 9. The other one will become 11.
Perfect.
The next one.
Yeah.
And the third one would become, it would become 13.
Perfect. Yeah. And so you can see that pattern of going up in 2s that we see in the picture. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate your contribution. So guys, the thing that I want to add now is, after the break, we're going to use a little bit, instead of using, up until now, you've been learning about something called TN notation. So in all the questions, we've always started by having a TN on the one side and N on the side, and that's perfect. But sometimes we ask students to use a slightly different notation. And so I just want you to show you here. For figure number, if I use the letter F, and for number of matches, I use the letter M, I want you to think about, if I wrote the formula in a slightly different way, how could I do that? Now, think of it this way. If I start, I think a lot of you, I can see some of you are already writing the formula. If we were doing this normally, okay, using the normal notation, we would do this. And then we would write down the step size. So the step size here is going up in 2s. And so we'd write basically a 2 there. The problem is that doesn't work, because our very first number is a 3. And so we get +1. Okay, so that's if we use TN notation. But now, if we choose to use a different notation, a different way of writing it. Sometimes we could use F for the figure number, and we use M for the number of matches. Then this formula could be written like this. We would write it as F for the figure number, and then we'd write M for the number of matches, and we'd still put the 2 in front, and we'd still put a +1 here. But sometimes in number patterns, you will see the formula for a relationship, especially if the relationship is based on a picture. Instead of using T and an N, they use letters to represent like F for figure number, or if it's pictures, they might say P for pictures. And so the really important thing that you need to keep track of is which is the one that is going up in ones. The one that's going up in ones is going to be like your position number. And the one that's going up by more than 1 normally is going to be the other letter. And so after the break, what we're going to do is we're just going to play around with a couple of formulas where we're not using the TN notation. But I just want to, before I even take the brain break, I want to point that out. Is there anything different between the two formulas, except the only thing different is instead of writing N, I've used F. And the reason I used F was because of the fact that it was figure number. And then instead of TN, we've used M for matches. And that's just because the number of matches is kind of like what we were counting in this picture. Okay, so just to bear that in mind. Now, I think we've done really well. It's time for a brain break. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a number brain break, and then we'll do a physical brain break. So I leave it to you. Amaze me with your amazingness. And Yolanda, you are also welcome to try and do the brain break, because I know I don't want you to feel excluded, and I know you didn't know what it was, so there's no cheating involved.
Yes.
And so please ask yourself this question.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. We can do this. Let's go. Let's do it, guys.
We're going to use the chat for this one.
Oh, I see. First clue there. I see. First clue. Well done, guys. You're giving me some clues. Keep them coming.
Yeah. Andile, I agree. Kanyesile, I agree. You're on the right track. That's because of algebra, these two have to be 5. Or because of common sense, I guess. I mean, that's all algebra is really. It's not coming out so nice. So this has to be 5, and that has to be 5, which means this has to be 5, this has to be 5, this has to be 5. Okay, so start thinking about what else might go there. So in fact, let's put it in the bracket. I like when we put it inside. And then once you've got
Andile got the same answer as mine.
Did you? Okay,
the second parts, yeah.
Okay, so what
for the
now?
Second parts.
The problem is that there's times and plus. So we have to use BODMAS here because we know that this must get done first. So I think this has to be a 2, and that has to be a 2, which is that.
Well done, Andile. We got it right. Let's go, everybody.
Okay, and so now
nearly there.
the last one is 5 times 2 must get done first. So that's 10. And then this has to get done, and then we get to 5. So how are we going to do that? I think that this has to be 1.
Woo! Yes.
And then 10 minus 5 is 5, which means the answer should be 1. So a shout out to Setu and to who else got 1. Let's have a look. Definitely Setu. Well done, guys. And we'll do one of these every, well, try and, you seem to like them a lot. And so I will try and keep bringing one to every lesson, because I think it helps a lot. And I love them actually, to be honest. So let's keep them going. Now, I think I want everyone to take a physical break, because I know your brains are working hard. So I want you to stand up very quickly.
Paul, the poll is open, Peter.
Huh?
The poll is open. I'm not sure. Did you open it?
Oh, let me close. Wait. Let me close the poll. It shouldn't be, oh, let me close the poll. Apologies. How do I close it? Maybe have a look if you see if you can close it. Okay, what I want to do today, today I just want to do balancing a pen on your nose. So see if you can balance a pen on your nose. And I've got a smaller pen this time, and see if you can stand on one leg. It takes quite a bit of concentration.
We can do this.
And stand on one leg and see if you can, and if you're very good, see if you can move around without, oh, can you do it?
I think I just have a long nose, so it's not so difficult for me to do.
You do, yeah. Some people have an advantage, an unfair advantage. Okay, don't worry. If you're injured, if you're injured, I can totally respect that you'd rather prevent being further injured. Whenever we tell you to do something, always use common sense. So please, yeah, don't do anything unreasonable. Yeah. Okay, guys, that was great. I enjoyed our break. Let's get back to class, and let us go back to a second question. So I want you to try and complete this one. So explain how the pattern is formed. So first ask yourself, looking at the picture, how is the pattern growing? And then I want you to complete the table, and I'm going to use the same system as before. You can pop this in the chat. And then the next question is, how many matches are needed for figure 9? Okay, so that's the last thing. And I want you to do that and pop it in the chat. And then if you've got a question, I'm going to unmute you so Tobile, I'm going to unmute you now, ask you to unmute to make a comment while everyone is working on the question. Go ahead, Tobile.
No, sir. I wanted to answer that other question.
Oh, okay, not a problem. So I don't know if, Yolanda, if we can maybe put students' hands down automatically so we can restart the process while everybody is working on this question.
Perfect. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so we've got another graphical pattern. And then if you put your answers in the chat, then I might ask some of you to contribute in a moment. Actually, you know what? This one I will do when I see enough answers in the chat, and then the next question I'll ask for some contributions. So remember what I said in the last question? My hint was to say, what number is this? We know this is 4. We can count 4 matches, and that corresponds to this part of the table. So figure 1 has 4 matches. Now figure 2, if I count them, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For me, it looks like figure 2 has 7 matches. And so that's what I'm not going to say anything more yet. I want some more answers to come through, but it feels to me like that's 7. And then I would start by counting the next pattern. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you always have to count the first 3. So for me, my number pattern goes like that. It says figure 1 has 4, figure 2 has 7, figure 3 has 10. And now I'd love for someone to give me the answers for C, D, E, F, G. So Amakle, your hand is up. Do you want to, I'm going to unmute you. And maybe you can tell me. Go ahead.
So since
the the
Yeah.
well, we're going up by 3.
Yeah.
It'll be 7, 10, 13,
Yeah.
16, 19, 22,
Yeah.
and 25.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Tatenda, if you could tell me what figure 9 would be, so I'm going to unmute you. So go ahead, Tatenda. What do you think term or figure 9 is going to be? How many matches do I need for figure 9?
Sir,
13.
You not quite 30, I don't think. Who have I unmuted? 13 for figure 9. So
I think you unmuted Tande Chibada. I think that's who you unmuted.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So it's fine. Taten Chibanda. If you look at figure 9, you can imagine it as the next block in this table. And so do you want to have another go there? All right, I think there's a bit of audio feedback, so I'm just going to move on for a second to Kanye Sile. If I could ask you to help me, what is the 9th one here?
So the 9th term is 24.
24.
Oh.
You've gone back by 1. So let's just have a quick look at this. If you look at this question, it's going up each time. So from 22 to 25 is going up by 3. From 19 to 22 is going up by 3. So I would expect it to carry on going up by 3.
Oh,
so
28.
28, perfect, exactly, 28. And so figure 9, and I'm not going to draw it, but figure 9 would have 28 matches in it. Perfect. Okay, let's do another one like this. I didn't build the formula this time. We're going to do that in a second now. In fact, let's see if we can do, let's do this one. So I want to ask you to look at this question and then answer the question, how many squares will there be in pattern number 5? And I want you to put your answer in the chat. Now remember, we always start by counting. When there's pictures, we have to start by counting. So 1, 2, 3. So this is 5, 2, 3, 6, 7. That's 8. That's 11. So remember, we want in pattern number 5. Hey? So we've got pattern number 1 or figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. And I want to know what is it going to be in figure 5. Okay, so you're quite right. So pattern 4 is going to be 14 and pattern 5 or figure 5 is going to be 17. So the correct answer is going to be figure 5 is 17. And let's try another one that's similar. If I gave you this number pattern, how many squares would there be in pattern 5? And I also want to know how many squares in pattern 7. So I'm going to call this A, and I'm going to call this B. How many squares in pattern 7? Okay, so there's 2 questions here. First one is pattern 5, the second one is pattern 7. And that's A and B. And I want to see if you can do that. So guys, I'm not going to take any more feedback right now because we've got a couple of admin things we need to do before the end of the lesson. But I just want to say thank you for your input in the lesson. It was really great hearing your voices. And it was, yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the lesson. But we're just going to finish with these last 2 questions. And then we're going to do a poll, and then we're going to do our weekly quiz. So this is 1, this is 4, this is 7, this is 10. So how many squares are there going to be in pattern 5? That's what I want you to think about. That's A. And then how many boxes will there be in pattern 7? Okay. All right, so for pattern 5, it looks to me like in this thing, we're going up in 3s. And so pattern 5 should just be 13. I should just go up by 3 more. So the answer to this one will be 13 blocks. Now, what about pattern 7? Well, pattern 7 will be 2 more jumps in the sequence. And so if I go 3 more, I'll get to 16. And then there I'll get to 19. And so there should be 19 blocks for pattern number 7. Okay, well done, guys. That was a really nice, we made really good progress. That's the best way I can describe it. Now, before we give you your weekly quiz, I just want to do our pacing poll just to see how we're doing overall. And in terms of just getting the pace, the Goldilocks speed. And then, Yolanda, if I could ask you to get that quiz ready so that students who want to see now, okay, have I really understood this? How, like, kind of, yeah, they can do the quiz.
Okay, so I am ready with the quiz. So I'm gonna post it just now for all of you.
Post in the link, yeah. I'll post in the chat, yeah.
There we go. You have it there, guys. Remember to click and just do the quiz.
So yeah, once you've done the poll, guys, class is finished for today. And I want you to go off and do the best that you can at that quiz. And then, yeah, I will see you next week. We're starting a lesson, a series of lessons on functions and relationships. And I'm really looking forward to teaching you there. And yeah, so the question is, will we be doing solving algebraic expressions? Yes. After functions and relationships, there's a unit on algebra that I'm looking forward to teaching. So yeah, thanks a lot. Amakle, unmute yourself and ask your question. Night, everyone. Night, everyone who's going. Yeah. Go ahead, Amakle. Unmute yourself and ask your question. Bye, Kano. Bye, Faith.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, so at the beginning of the lesson,
yeah,
you gave us a question 3A, B, and C. Okay. And may you please explain C?
Yeah.
Question C.
So do you mean on the very beginning, like the ones that's on the screen right now?
Like the first activity.
This one. Yeah. This one over here.
Yes, C, sir. I'm confused with C.
Okay, I'll go through it very quickly. If I could just ask Yolanda to just take a screenshot of the poll, and you can pop that for later work. So let's look at question C. What question C is saying is that in this long list, at some point, it gets to 114. And what I want to know is, for example, here, in this list, if I just look at the very beginning, I know that this is T1. This is term 2. This is term 3, because I'm just counting like 1, 2, 3, 4. The problem is I don't know its position. And in order to find its position, the one way of doing it is to count. But that would take a really long time. And so what we do is we use our formula. Now, earlier in the lesson, we worked out the formula Tn equals 4n minus 2. And in this formula, the n is the position number, which is what we want. And Tn is the value of the term. And what you have to do, the very important thing to recognize in C, is that when I say which term equals 114, the part of the formula that is the term is the Tn part. It's this part here. So you need to sub the 114, not where the n is, but where the Tn is. And so you get what we call an equation that looks like this. So you must make that connection that the 114 goes here. Now, after that, we have to solve for this n, the position number. And the way we do that is we use what are called opposite operations. We really need to deal with this minus 2. And so what I do is I add 2 to both sides. If I add 2 to both sides, what I'm left with is just 116 equals 4n. But then the problem is this, we still want to get n by itself, and this pesky 4 is in the way. But now the opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. And as long as I'm doing the same to both sides, it's all good. And you'll see I end up with 29 is n. And what that means is the 29th term in the list is equal to 114. And what I would do is, I have to pop off now because I'm going to my grade 11s, but I would encourage you to have a look at some of the earlier videos where we went over this idea quite a lot. Okay. Cool, guys. I hope that that was helpful. I'm going to pop off, and then Yolanda, in maybe a minute or two, I'll see you in the grade 11s. But I hope that you enjoyed the lesson, and I will see you next week, Monday.
It was a fun lesson.